Okay, we made it to Thursday, and that means we are reviewing for our test today. So we will be testing tomorrow on solving equations and inequalities. So if you have been doing your daily work, that means you have most likely seen every question that will be on your test, because I try to take your test questions from your daily work. So please make sure that you are doing your daily work so you're practicing the skills you need to be able to pass the test. So let's go over a few of these questions. We're also going to play Kahoot today to review, but I wanted to review you together first. So let's get started. So number 1 says v minus 10 is equal to negative 9. So I'm going to do the opposite operation, which is the opposite of negative 10 is positive 10, and I need to do that to both sides. So that makes this one go away because it's an additive inverse. Negative 10 and positive 10 is equal to 0. That leaves me with v. And now I see I have a negative 9 and a positive 10. My signs are different, which means I'm going to subtract and keep the sign of the largest absolute value. So my answer will be positive 1. So v is equal to positive 1. Okay, let's look at number 2. We have negative 2 is equal to m divided by 6. Now, we have to get the m by itself. You're always looking to get your variable by itself. So the way to do that is always inverse operations. Right now, m is being divided by 6. So the opposite of that would be to multiply both sides by 6. These go away, and you're left with m on this side. And 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. So m is equal to negative 12. Okay, let's look at number 3. We have 6 plus x over 2 equals 4. So we need to get rid of the 6 first, because remember, our main goal is to get that variable by itself. So this is a positive 6, so I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. This is equal to 0. I am left with x over 2 is equal to positive 4 and negative 6. My signs are different, which means I'm going to subtract and keep the sign of the largest absolute value, which is going to be negative 2. Now, I'm not finished yet because I still don't have this x by itself. So I need to get rid of the 2. Right now, x is being divided by 2, so that means I need to multiply the opposite. Multiply both sides by 2. These cancel out. I'm left with x is equal to negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. So x is equal to negative 4. Okay, so this one says a minus 10, and it's all divided by 3. It looks really hard, but it's not, because the first thing we're going to do is get rid of this 3. Right now, my variable is being divided by 3, so I'm going to do the opposite or inverse, and I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. That means these cancel out, and I'm left with a minus 10 is equal to negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Now I'm still not finished because I don't have my a by itself. So I'm going to do the inverse operation here. So I'm going to add 10, and I'm also going to add 10 here. So that goes away. I'm left with a on this side and negative 12 and positive 10. My signs are different, so I need to subtract and keep the sign of the largest absolute value, which is negative. 12 minus 10 is 2. So a is equal to negative 2. Okay. We also have distributive property. So the first thing we need to do here is distribute the 4, and then we can go about business as usual. So we're going to do 4 times x, which is 4x. 4 times positive 3 is positive 12. And then we just bring down the rest. So we have 4x plus 12 equals 32. So just like all these other problems, we're going to get rid of this 12 first. We're going to do the opposite. So it's going to be minus 12, minus 12. This one equals 0, so it goes away, and we're left with 4x is equal to 32 minus 12 is 20. And we keep the sign of the largest absolute value, which is positive. Now, I still don't have that x by itself, so I need to divide both sides by 4. I'm left with x is equal to positive 5. 20 divided by 4 is positive 5. So x is equal to 5. Okay, let's look at number 6 here. We have 22 is equal to 2 times the group x minus 9 plus x. So we're going to distribute it. Remember, it doesn't matter what order it's in. We're still trying to get the variable by itself. So we're going to distribute first. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. Bring down the plus x. And go ahead and bring down the rest of your problem. So now it says 22 is equal to 2x minus 18 plus x. I see that I have two x's on the same side, which means I need to combine them. I'm going to combine my like terms. I have 2x and 1x, and that is equal to 3x because they were both positive. Bring the rest of my problem down. And then it looks normal and I can continue as usual. So I have negative 18, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is add 18, which is going to get rid of this and leave me with only 3x. 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry my 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. So I'm left with 40 is equal to 3x. So I need to divide both sides by 3. This one is not going to equal a pretty number, and what I mean by a pretty number is just a whole number. So let's see what we get. So we have 40 divided by 3. 3 will go into 4 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. I subtract and I get 1. I bring down my 0. 3 will go into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. I subtract and I get 1. So I'm going to make this a decimal. So I'm just going to add a decimal, put a 0, and bring it down. And I'm going to get 3 again. 3 times 3 is 9. And this is going to be a repeater. So my x is equal to 13.3 repeating. If you had done this to get a fraction, you would have got 13 1/3. So if you did it as a fraction, it would be 13 1/3. Okay, let's look at number 7. Number 7 says 2x minus 3 is less than negative 7. Now remember, we just work these the same way we do with our equal sign. It just has an inequality sign. And then we're going to interpret what that means by representing it on a graph. So we have 2x minus 3 is less than negative 7. I work it the same way by inverse operation. So I'm going to add 3. This one goes away. I'm left with 2x is less than negative 7 and positive 3. Signs are different, so I'm going to subtract and keep the sign of the largest absolute value, which is negative, and 7 minus 3 is 4. Now I can divide both sides by 2, and x is less than negative 2. So how would I represent that on a graph? So I would have a graph. And I would have negative 2, and I would put some numbers to the left and the right. And then sometimes you will see it represented above the graph. Sometimes you will see it represented on the graph like this. It means the same thing. So I see that it's less than negative 2, so I'm going to use an open dot because open is less, it means that it's not equal to, because there is no or equal to here. So an open dot, and it says x is less than, so I know it needs to go to the left. So my possible answers here could be -3, -4, -5, but it would never be -2 because this is an open dot. It does not include -2. So let's look at number 8, which says, what do the number lines show? I see that I have an open dot on 5, and my arrow is going to the left. So that tells me that x is less than, because it's going to the left, is less than 5. X is less than 5. And of course, you could use any variable. It doesn't matter if you use X or A or B. It doesn't matter. Let's look at the next one. I see that I have a closed dot here. So that tells me that X is going to be or equal to here. So it's going to the right. So that tells me it's greater than or equal to, because it is a closed dot. And x is greater than or equal to -2. So just remember that open dot means there is no or equal to. If it's a closed dot, it means there is an or equal to. Okay, you will have a couple of word problems on your test, so let's practice that. It says you buy 3 games that are equal in price. You also buy a book that is $5. Your total is $35. What is the cost of each game? So we need to see, what do we know? We know we have 3 games, and we know that they are equal in price, but we don't know what the price is. So let's use P for our variable. We also know that we bought a book for $5. And our total, or equal to, is 35. So we know it's equal to 35. We know we have 3 games, but we don't know the price, so that would be 3P. And we know we bought a book, so we know we bought 3 games for a certain price plus a $5 book. So that looks pretty familiar now, right? So let's solve. So we do -5 minus 5. We're left with 30, and we bring down our 3P is equal to 30. We divide both sides by 3, and we're left with P is equal to 30 divided by 3 is 10. So that tells me that the price of each game was $10. So that would be my answer. Okay, let's practice a couple more inequalities. And you do it the same way. You're going to distribute first. So we have 6 times x, which is 6x. We have 6 times +10, which is +60, and it's less than or equal to 48. So we're going to subtract 60 from both sides. This goes away. We're left with 6x is less than or equal to. I see that I have a positive and a negative, which means I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to flip it this way because I see it better that way. So you do what you have to do to be able to see it. So 10 minus 8 is 2, and 5 minus 4 is 12. And I keep the sign of the largest absolute value, so it's going to be -12. I still need to get that x by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 6. I'm left with x is less than or equal to -2. So if I put that on a graph, I could do this. It's less than or equal to, which means I need a closed dot over the -2, and x is less than, so I would go to the left. And remember, it doesn't matter how long your arrow is. As long as there's an arrow, you know that it goes on for infinity.